Types of contract. We have four different types of contracts are there. Based on the formation or creations, we have different types. Based on the validity, we have the different types. Based on the executions or performance, we have the different types. And based on the liability, also we have two different types. So based on the formation or creations, if you take, we have expressed contract, implied contract, quasi contract, contingent contract, and e-contract. Based on validity, if you take, we have valid contract, we have void contract, voidable contract, illegal contract, and unenforceable contract. Based on the executions or performance, if we take, we have executed contract and executory contract. Based on the liability, we have unilateral and bilateral contract. We'll see one by one. Based on the formations, the first one expressed contract. The terms of the contract are made clear in writing or orally at the time of the formation of the contract. For example, oral offer and acceptance. Written contract. Next one, implied contract. An implied contract is when the offer and acceptance is made by the act or conduct of the parties. An implied contract is one which come into existence by the acts, the conduct of the parties. For example, ordering in a restaurant, boarding a public bus. Quasi contract. In quasi contract, there is no intention of the parties to form a contract, but created by law. For example, Mr. X, a trader, leaves certain goods at house of Mr. Y by mistake. This imposes an obligation on Mr. Y either to return the goods to Mr. X or to make the payment if he treats the goods as his own. Contingent contract. It is a contract in which a promise is conditional and the contract shall be performed only on the happening of that uncertain event. For example, insurance. A contracts to pay Mr. B. Mr. A contracts to pay Mr. B rupees 10,000 if B's house is burned. This is a contingent contract. E-contract. It is the one which is entered between the parties via internet. It is one of the most common ways of contract in current scenario. It should have some e-signature should be there. Online, we can create the contract. We can validate the contract through the online. Based on the validity, we have the valid contract. An agreement enforceable by law is called as valid contract. Contract that has all essential elements of the contract. It is the contract which satisfies all the essentials of sections 10 of Indian Contract Act, like offer and acceptance, free consent, etc. For example, if A asks B if he wants to buy his bike for rupees 10,000, B agrees to buy bike. It is an agreement which is enforceable by law. Hence, it is a contract. Next one, voidable contract. Contract which is acceptable by law at the option of one party, but not at other. For example, entering into a contract by coercion. Next one, voidable contract. A contract which is enforceable by law at the option of one party, but not at the option of other parties, is voidable contract. Such a contract come into existence where of consent of one party is not free. Void contract, section 2 of J. It is one which was a valid contract when it was made, but subsequently it becomes a void due to change of circumstances. For example, X agrees to sell his horse to Y for rupees 5,000, but the horse died in an accident. It became impossible to perform the contract due to destruction of the subject. Thus, a valid contract changes into void contract because of impossibility of performance. Next one, illegal contract. Contract which are forbidden by the law is called as illegal contract. It is punishable under law. It will make collateral party also illegal. All illegal agreements are void agreements, but all void agreements are not illegal. Unenforceable contract. A contract which is valid in all respects, but because of non-fulfillment of some technical formality, it cannot be treated as enforceable. For example, check without signature, the lack of proof. Based on the executions or performance, we have executed contract. It is one in which both the parties have performed their respective obligations. For example, Mr. Hussain agrees to paint a painting to Mr. Arjun for rupees 5,000. He paints the painting and Arjun pays rupees 5,000 to him. Next one, executory contract. Contract in which one or both the parties to the contract have still to perform their obligations in future. Partially performed or wholly unperformed is termed as executory contract. For example, if Mr. Hussain painted the painting, Arjun didn't pay rupees 5,000 yet. Based on the liability, we have unilateral contract. A unilateral contract is one in which only one party has to make a promise. It is one-sided contract. One party, known as offerer, makes a promise in exchange for an act by another party, known as offeree. For example, reward contract. Pay reward if anyone gets the lost dog or cat. It is also called as one to one person to the various persons, one to all contract. There are one offerer will be there, but there at the same time, the opposite, many offerees will be there. Next one, bilateral contract. It is commonly used in business transactions. This contract contains a promise by each party to fulfill the certain obligations to complete the deal. It is similar to executory contract. For example, A agrees to pay rupees 50 lakh or 5 crores to purchase the house. So the buyer must pay the price and seller must transfer the ownership. Here also one offerer and one offeree will be there. The person who makes the offer is called as offerer, and the person to whom the contract was made is called as offeree. So only one offerer and one offeree will be there.